Good morning, boys and girls and colleagues as well. I am Mekabi, the subject advisor of accounting in Moteo District. And today we are just going to do a continuation of the journals that we were doing them yesterday. So I want us to continue with the journals. Remember one thing, there are 9 journals. And then out of those 9 journals, there are cash journals, 4 cash journals, and then the other ones are Creditors journal. So I'm going to try by all means that in all activities that we do, I do all the journals except the salary and wages journal, because the salary and wages journal are the ones that are going to be done in the second term. So I'm going to focus on the ones that are going to be done on the first term. So today we are going to continue with Creditors journal, which will be our first question of Creditors journal. Under Creditors journal, we having Creditors journals. You are provided with the information relating to the tip-top traders for November 2020. What is it that you need to do? You are required to do the following. You are required to do the Creditors journal and Creditors allowance journal. So here are the transactions that are given to you. Remember, I said it is important for you to go transaction by transaction and record it as you come across the transaction. Do not read all transactions and label them, then go back and then record them. No, read a transaction and record it in a proper journal. So when you check here, it says the first transaction was on the 10th of this month, this November. Then it says received a credit invoice numbered 231 from Anzani Traders for pencils and pens 280 and trading stock was 4,310. So whenever you receive a credit invoice, it means you have taken stock on credit. Therefore, you must record it under the creditors journal. So let's go to our creditors journal. Here is our creditors journal. On the Creditors journal, you're going to have Anzani, the 10th. We're having Anzani Traders. Creditors control, you are going to have 4,590. Why? There were 2 transactions or 2 aspects that happened. The first one was the trading stock. The second one was the stationery. Hence why you have allocated correctly in their columns. I will quickly go back to that question. Check it. It says, we received a credit note, including these 2. The other one, 4,310, was for trading stock, and then the pencil and pens amounted to 280. You know, most pencils and pens forms part of the stationery. That's why when you have to come to this side of Creditors journal, you have to record it under the stationery. All right, so let's move to the second transaction of ours. The second transaction, going back to our question again, it is on which day? It is on the 13th. Then it says, issued a debit note number 75 to Ansani Traders for damaged items returned, trading stock 125, and the pens was 16 rand. Meaning what happened in this case, you issued a debit note, meaning you are taking back those goods. Therefore, you qualify for allowance. Hence why you have to record this transaction under Creditors Allowance Journal. So let's go to our Creditors Allowance Journal and see how does it look like. Remember, you're having 2 aspects, which is 125 and 116. On the 13th, the creditor is Anzani Traders. Creditors control 141. Why 141? Under trading stock, you have 125, which was returned. Under stationery, you have 16 rand, which was returned. So you add both of them, then you make one credit note of 141. I think it's clear, that one. Then let's move to the transaction on the 15th. Bought goods on account from BJ Suppliers, 4,800 less 10% trade discount. All right, so let's see, where are we going to record this transaction? What happened? Bought goods on account, meaning you bought goods on credit. Therefore, it means this transaction of the 15 must go to your Creditors journal. So we are going to our creditors journal. On our creditors journal, remember dates are important and documents are important as well. So on your creditors journal, you are going to have BJ suppliers. And then from BJ suppliers, creditors control of 4,320. Trading stock, what was it for? It was for trading stock of 4,320. Now, let's check how much it's the trade discount. It was 10%. The transaction says less, it was 4,800 minus 10%. 10% is going to be 4,800. 4,800. What is minus? Minus 10%. It should be 480. So we're going back and say 4,800 minus 480. 4,800 minus 480. Then we are going to have, what am I doing now? We are saying 4,800 minus 480. Our answer is 4,320. Hence why in our creditors journal we are having BJ supplier of 4,320. All right, so every time you read the transaction, you must be careful of its aspects. So it's 4,800, you less the trade discount. So it is your responsibility to calculate the 10% and then you subtract it before you can do what? Before you can record it under your creditors journal. All right, let's go to number transaction on the 17th. Bought an office chair of 180. Merchandise for 2,150 and stationery for 60 Rand as per invoice from all sorts traders. So what happened here? You have bought. So what happens when you buy on credit? It means you have bought these things on credit because it was written on the invoice. What assures you that it was on credit? It says as per invoice. So it was on credit. Therefore, you need to do what? You need to go to your creditors journal. Let's go to our creditors journal. Here is your creditors journal. Source documents are important. Dates are also important. Then this is how you're going to write it. All sorts traders, you're going to have, if you check the transaction, it was 180 for office chair, merchandise 2,150, and merchandise is the stock. And then stationery was 60, and therefore you take it to stationery column. 180, you write it under equipment because there is no column for equipment. So you add everything together. You say 2,100, 2,150 plus 60 Rand plus 180. Therefore, you get 2,320. That is the total amount that you take to your creditors control. So it's basically this 180, it's an equipment, it's the 2,150, it's your stock, and then you have 60, which is your stationery. So that is how you are going to record it. And then let's move to transaction number 90. Sorry for that. Let's move to transaction 19. On transaction 19, it says, receive a credit note from all sorts traders since they neglected to give 10% trade discount on the purchases of the 17th, meaning on the trading stock of the 17th, of the stock of the 17th, they did not give you a trade discount. So they want to give you trade discount. Therefore, where do you take this transaction to? You take it to creditors allowance journal. So how do you deal with it when you get to creditors allowance journal? How much was the stock? That is the first thing you need to check. 2,150. So you say 2,150. Let's go to our calculator. 2,150 multiply by 10, divide by 100, which is a 10%. It gives you 215. So let's go to our creditors allowance journal and see how do we record this transaction. This is how we are going to record it. We are saying on the 19th, all sorts traders, amount of 215 under creditors control. What was it for? It was for trading stock, because you only get trade discount on the trading stock. All right, then let's go back to our transactions. We are done with the transaction of the 19th. Then it means we must go to the transaction of the 21st. On the 21st, we bought printer paper for 211 and packaging material of 163 on credit from Warwick Ltd. So what happened here, it means you bought a printer. So when you buy on credit, it means you must go to your creditors journal. So let's see how are we going to deal with it in the creditors journal. Here is our creditors journal. First of all, date is important. All transactions must have dates. Who is our creditor? It's a Warwick Ltd. And then what did we do? In this case, we bought printer for 211. Printing paper means it's stationery. And then after buying stationery, what else do you have? You have packaging material of 163. So because we do not have a column for 163, you are going to write it in here. Therefore, on the creditors control, meaning you must have one amount. That is where you are going to say your 211 for the printing paper, then you add your 163 for packaging, then at the end you'll have 374, which is the amount that you have taken it to your creditors journal and the creditors control column. All right, so let's go to the next transaction of the 25th. On the 25th, what happened on the 25th? You have received a credit note from Warwick Ltd for 11 Rand because the price of the printing paper was incorrectly calculated. Meaning the price of the printing paper was 200 and they make 211. So this 11 Rand, it means it is a credit note. You still have 11 Rand with them because they calculated the price wrongly. So where are you going to take this transaction? You're going to take it under Creditors Allowance Journal. So let's go to Creditors Allowance Journal and see what is it that we have. Under Creditors Allowance Journal, you need to say document number 77, and then you have your 25th day, Warwick, and then we have a credit note of 11 Rand. What was it for? You take it to the relevant account, which is stationery. Then let's go to the last transaction on this one. Bought a vehicle on credit from Rikachi Garage for 155,800. So when you buy something on credit, you go to your creditors journal. So let's see how do we record it under the creditors journal. Here is your creditors journal. Remember I said dates are important. And then under creditors journal, we're having Gr10 Garage, 155 under creditors control. And then we must take it there as 155,800. What was it for? Vehicles. It was for vehicles. So remember, the details under sundries are very important. Very important. You can't leave them out because at the end of the day, we need to know what was that amount for. So it was for vehicle. All right, then let's check what is it that it's left on our paper. I think we are done on this question. So let's balance our creditors journal. So you add everything. You say 4,590 plus 4,320 plus 2,390. Let's calculate it together. 4,590 plus 4,320 plus 2,390 plus 374 plus 155,800. Therefore, you have 167,474,000. So under trading stock, you're still going to do the same thing. You're going to say 4,300, my 4,300 plus 4,310 plus 4,320 plus 2,150. It gives you, or I've skipped something, plus 4,310, enter. It gives you 10,780. So meaning all our additions, I think, going that side are also correct. If you can just use your calculator, 280 plus 60 plus 211 will give you 551. Then under sundries, you'll have 180, and then you'll have 163, and then you'll have 155, 800, then you'll have a total of 156, 143. So in the same way, you also have to add everything here. When you add everything here, you are going to have 141,000 plus 215 plus 11, it will give you 367. Trading stock 125 plus 215, it will give you 340. Then under stationery, you have 16 plus 11, it will give you 27. So remember, it is important to add up everything after you have entered all your transactions, because sometimes this addition gives out a mark. You can see here there was a mark, and I think even here there was also a part mark for adding correctly. So be careful. When you are told to add, you must add. When you are not told to add, you must as well not add, because you will waste time. The examiner has calculated the time correctly. If addition is included, there is extra time for addition. But if it's not included, there is no extra time. You'll never finish doing your work. Then let's go to the second question of today. The second question of today, we are going to do our credit transactions. Yesterday, we were busy with our cash transactions, including few credit transactions. So today, we are going to be busy with all credit transaction. On this one, it's a debtors journal. So you are provided with the information relating to this company. For December 2020, the business is owned by Lerato Kekana. They buy and sell school uniform. And then the businesses use a markup of 25% on cost. Remember, it's very important to be able to use the markup percentage to calculate whatever that is required. So let's see what is it that is required. You are required to record the transaction in the debtors journal and close it off on the 31st December 2020. All right, here is our transactions. When you check here on the transactions, the first transaction says it was on the 2nd. I think all the things that you see on the side here are the dates. Let me do it like this so that maybe you can see the difference between the dates and the numbers. It's just the numbers, but they were done too close. They were too close. We having the 2nd, we are having the 3rd, we are having the 7th, we are having the 13th, we are having the 22nd. So I think it's much clear, much better when it's like this. So this that you find there, it's the dates. I said, remember I said to you, dates are very important. So each and every transaction must have the date. So going to transactions on the January 2020, you sold goods to B blank for 15,000. Cost price was 12,000. You see, this one is easy because they've already calculated the cost price for you. So where do you take this transaction? You are taking it to the debtors journal. So let's go to our debtors journal. Here is our second question. Here is our debtors journal. Under debtors journal, you have to have your date, which is the 2nd, and then who is our debtor here is B Black. The sales is 15,000. The cost of sales is given. There's no need for you to do what? To calculate the cost of sales. All right. Then let's move to the second transaction. Received a delivery note from other transporters after delivery equipment of 500. When you receive a delivery note, where are you going to put this? It has nothing to do with us because we are only required to do a debtors journal. So in some instances or in some activities, you'd find activities like this ones, but that do not affect you, and then you just leave them out. When you receive a delivery note, you must take it to the relevant journal. So now we move to number 5. It says goods sold on credit to P pitch of 5,500. Where do we take this one? We are taking it to our debtors journal. We are only required to do the debtors journal. So here is our pitch. When you check there, our pitch, how much was the sales? The sales were 5,500. Therefore, what do we say about the cost of sales? We need to calculate the cost of sales. Let's calculate the cost of sales. If your sales is 5,500, you multiply by 100, divide by 100 plus percentage given. How much is the percentage given is 25. Therefore, how much do we have? You have 125, then you have 4,400. So meaning your cost of sales will be how much? 4,400. And to calculate that, you see it's 2 marks. It is a lot of marks that you can just leave when you say you do not understand or you did not practice to calculate markup percentage. When you do not practice to calculate cost of sales using the markup percentage given. All right, then let's go to the next transaction. Purchases packing material from deal store for 1,200. When you purchase packing material, it means it mustn't go to any of the debtors journal. We are required to do the debtors journal. So when you are purchasing material from them, it means they are your creditors. So you won't put it anywhere here because you are not dealing with the creditors. We are only dealing with the debtors ledger. All right. Number 13, date 13. On the 13th, we issued an invoice to El Lemon for merchandise sold on credit, meaning we sold goods on credit to Lemon for how much? 6,000. It's your cost price. Therefore, you need to calculate your sales. Therefore, let's go to our debtors journal. When we get to our debtors journal, you're going to have your cost of sales is given to you 6,400, and then you have to record properly here. Who is our debtor? It's Lemon. When was it taken? The 13th. So let's calculate the sales. 6,400. You're working backwards now, ne? 6,400 multiplied by 125 divided by 100. Why 125? The markup is 25%. Now because you're working going backwards, the 125 is on top, it's no more at the bottom. So that is why you will say 6,400 multiplied by 100 plus markup given divided by 100 in order for you to get sales. When you want to get the cost of sales, then you have your sales. You say your sales multiplied by 100 divided by 100 plus markup given. So that is how we get there. So therefore, Lemon's sales was how much? Was 8,000. Then you still have your 2 marks there. So let's add everything together. We are going to have 15,000, and then you add 5,500, and then you add 8,000, and then how much do you have? You are having 28,500. So meaning your total here will be 28,500. All right, then let's go to cost of sales. Under cost of sales, you also have to add, because there is no any adjustment or note that says you mustn't add. So we are having 12,000 plus 4,400 plus 6,400. Therefore, how much do we have? 22,800. Therefore, this is how it looks like, our 22,800. So you all have your 8 marks, which is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So meaning each and every total here was 1 mark. Very interesting question now, number 2.2. where learners almost or most of the time they ignore it. Let's check. Now we are going to talk about internal control. Kekana Traders has expanded and has employed 2 assistants in addition to the one that was employed since it commenced. Lerato was told that there are few basic ideas for a business that have to be implemented to ensure that internal controls are effective. So can you please name any 3 ways that can be implemented by the business to reduce fraud? Any 3 that you can think of. This is what I thought of. You can think of only one person should be responsible for each activity, meaning you're talking about division of labor. Ne? So the person who ordered stock must not be the same person with the one receiving cash, meaning one person responsible for one activity. Employees should be rotated occasionally. This also can help. This month you collect cash, next month you sanitize at the door, the other day you are packing stock, it will differ. Or one person should check everyone regularly. That is also a good reason. You can have a supervisor who oversees all the employees in all the sections. So in that case, there will be monitoring and control. So here are the ways that you can use to reduce the fraud and the theft without saying installation of cameras, because I know all accounting learners, when you meet them, when then you're talking about control measures, they will tell you about installation of cameras. All right, then let's go to question 3. Our question 3. On question 3, you will be asked to do the data and debtors allowance journal. Here you are to prepare the following journals of Lionel Soccer Balls for February 2020. Required, you are to do 3.1. Prepare the following journals of Lyon Soccer Balls for February 2020. The businesses use a markup percentage of 50% on cost. Then you provide your own source documents. This one is also nice. Then you do debtors journal, you do debtors allowance journal. So from all the activities that we did, if I remember well, we did CRJ yesterday, CPJ yesterday, DJ, CAJ yesterday, DJ. Today we are doing DJ and DAJ. And then the general journal will be the last one. All right. So transaction for February 2020. Credit sales to K Boden amount to 18,000. So where do we take this one? Credit sales, you have sold on credit to this person, meaning this person is your debtor. Therefore, it must go to debtors journal. Let's go to our debtors journal. Here is our debtors journal. Under our debtors journal, this is how we are going to work. You have K Boden, and then K Boden, the sales was 1,800. So your responsibility was to calculate the cost of sales. So remember, we said sales multiply by 100, divide by 100 plus percentage given. Oh, why do I make such money? All right, let me go back again. We are saying 1,800 multiply by 100 divided by 150. Therefore, we are going to get, where am I now? All right, I think this calculator, I'm not getting it right somewhere. 1,800, it's your credit sales. Then you multiply by 100. Then you divide by 150. Then you have enter. It's 1,200. There it's your 1,200 as what? As cost of sales. All right. I'll go back here and just remind you, here's the 50% that we have used to calculate the markup. Remember, I said it will be sales multiplied by 100 divided by 100 plus percentage given. So the percentage that was given was 50, hence why we have 100 divided by 150. All right. Then we're having on the 17th, there is credit sales for the day M Mario for 900, meaning you have done the sales. We still have to calculate cost of sales. Then let's go to our journal. Here is our journal. On the 9th, DAJ. On the 9th, am I with you? Yes. On the 9th, okay, why am I having the 5 here? All right. On the 9th, we have in Mario, 900,000. I've highlighted now with black. 900. Then you have to calculate the markup percentage. The markup percentage there is 50% as well. So you're going to say your 900 multiply by 100 divided by 150. 900 multiply by 100 divide by 150. Then you have your 600 as cost of sales. Then you have to move again. There is another data there on the same day. Who is this data? We're having Connie, C Connie. This data bought with 1,500. We also have to calculate what? The markup. So we go again, we're saying 1,500. 1,500, then you multiply by 100, then you divide by 150. Therefore, you have 1,000 rand. So this is how you will record it. You will have your source document, and then you'll have C Connie. Which date was C Connie? The 17th. You can write the 17th or use the one on top. The 17th, then you have sales of 1,500. Then your cost of sales will be how much? Will be 1,000 rand. All right. Then let's go to the next transaction. On the next transaction, which is the 18th, here what happened is we issued credit note for the following debtors. M Mario for 90 rand. And then I think on the 5th there is a transaction that I missed. This transaction, yes, I missed this transaction. K Bodin sent merchandise on the value of 300 back to the business. After they bought the merchandise of 1.8, they sent back this merchandise of 300. So we also have to record that under DAJ, Debtors Allowance Journal. So we have to go to our Debtors Allowance Journal. I don't remember talking about it. Here it is on the 3rd, on the 5th, we're having Debtors Allowance Journal of 300. Therefore, you also need to calculate your cost of sales. It's still the same 300. Then you multiply by 100 divided by 150. Then we have 200 as your cost of sales. Then on the 18th, we are having credit note from Mario. Mario, remember, Mario bought the one for 900. Now he's retaining for 90. Hence why we are going to have our Mario, 18th Mario, 90, and then cost of sales was not indicated. Because if you say 9, oh, sorry for that. Yeah, because if you say a 90 multiply by 100 and then divide by 150, you'll get 60 rand. So why do we have 0 there? What happened with Mario? The merchandise is damaged and can't be used again. Hence why we cannot calculate the cost of sales of that. So because we are also not going to lose, we are going to take it back to our supplier. Therefore, our cost of sales will be 0. All right. Then let me move to the next transaction. Connie, see Connie, we returned for Connie for 150. Therefore, we need to calculate the markup as well for 150. Let's go to our DAJ. Our DAJ, see Connie, 150, and then cost of sales is 100. Why 100? You have to follow the same procedure. You're going to say 150 stock, multiply by 100, divide by 150. Therefore, that is where you will be able to get your 100. All right. Then let's move to the next one. On the 28th, if you check these ones, they do not belong here because we are only given what is it that we need to do. You need to do DJ and DAJ. So buy from ABC stores as per invoice. It has nothing to do with debtors journal or debtors allowance journal. You are buying from ABC. ABC is your creditors. So meaning this must go to your creditors journal. Send the following back. That means you are returning from its CAJ to this company that you have bought from. So we don't focus on that one. Therefore, let's go to the last one. On the 28th, we're having sales per invoice. C Zuma for 1,800. We did sales, meaning we must go to our debtors journal. Therefore, here is our debtors journal. We have our Zuma with 1,800. Therefore, we need to calculate the cost of sales. Remember, it's 1,800 multiply by 1,800 multiply by 100 divide by 150. Therefore, you have 1,200. Hence why your cost of sales will be 1,200. All right. Then going back here, any other transaction on this activity? No other transaction. So meaning what is it that you need to do? You need to go back and then do your totals. So you're going to say 1,800 here on your calculator, 1,800, and then you add 900, you add 1,500, you add 1,800. Therefore, how much do you have? You're going to have 6,000. So your total for here will be 6,000. So you need to come to the cost of sales. When you come to the cost of sales, you need to say your 1,200 plus 600 plus 1,000 plus 1,200. Therefore, how much do you have? 4,000. Therefore, your cost of sales will be 4,000. All right. Then in the same way, you come down here to your debtors allowance journal. Under your debtors allowance journal, you have 300, and then you have 90, you have 150. They all add up to 540. Under the cost of sales, you're having 200, and then you're having 100. Then you add them together, and then you're having 300 as a total. So just before we go to the break, just check. We did almost all the journals, your cash payment journals except the petty cash and the salary and wages journal. And then we did the credit journals, all of them. We did the DJ, CJ, CAJ, DAJ. So we will be left with the general journal. I said salaries and wages, we'll do it after second term. That is why I did not concentrate on it. And petty cash, it is also an easy journal, so I didn't find any need for us to do it. But remember, there is no checks anymore. So when you do your journals, you must take that into consideration that you cannot pay anything with cash for now. They must be with check now. They must be EFT at all times, or they must be cash. All right, let's have a water break before I come and finish the last activity on our general journal. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome back again. Now we are going to do the last part of the journals, where we are going to do our general journals. Only 2 activities on general journal. Then we will be done for the day. All right, then let's move to our general journal. It is, the question here is question 4. It says general journal concepts and leisures. It has 65 marks. So the following information was taken from the Mofana stationers. You are required to do the following. Generalize the following adjustment on the 28th February 2019. then generalized narrations are not recorded in the general journal. Okay, so here it's generalize the following adjustment. General narrations are not required. Remember, in the general journal, you have to write something like we have to write what we call narration. Narration is a storytelling. You actually tell the person who's going to look through your books as to why did you take those transactions to general journal. When I used to teach my grade 10s, I say general journal is a dustbin. It takes all transactions that cannot go into one of the cash transactions or the cash journals or the credit journals. So any journal, any transaction that cannot go to cash payment, cash receipts, petty cash, and then salary and wages journal, DJ, AJ, CJ, CAJ, it must go to general journal. So we call it, I used to call it a dustbin. You throw everything in there that cannot go to any of the journals. So in order for a person to understand why is the transaction is there, you have to narrate. So in this question, they say that we can, general narrations are not needed. So there is no need for us to do the narrations. If they say do not do the narrations, do not waste time to do the narrations because you are told not to do it. There won't be any marks for narrations. But if you are asked to do the narrations, you have to work it through. All right. So here is our question 4. You have information, provisional totals for 28 February 2019. You have your debtors control as 350, and then you have your credit on the credit side as 270, and then you have your creditors control, debit 120, and credit there is nothing. So here are your adjustment that will help you. Adjustment 1 up to adjustment 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, 9. Yeah, up to adjustment 9. All right. So I want us to check the first adjustment. It says insurance is prepaid 200. So let's go to our journal. Let's see how are we going to do it in our journal. It's a prepaid expense. It must be debited and insurance must be credited. There you have your 200 debited and there you have your 200 credited under insurance. Remember, these are the balances that are already given. So meaning the balance that are already given, you must write them and they must be there. So this one is bold because it is an example of the first transaction which says insurance is prepaid. So when you do a prepaid insurance, it means in this case you're going to debit your prepaid expense and then you're going to credit your insurance. All right, then let's go to the second transaction. It says water and lights have not yet been paid for 1,500, meaning we still owe water and lights. Therefore, you need to go back to your general journal. What is it that you debit? You debit your water and lights as your expense. 1,500. Accrued expenses, we owe water and lights 1,500. It does not affect any debtors control or any creditors control because we are dealing with water and lights, which is the municipality. All right, then let's go to the next transaction. The next transaction is the cash, no, it's Sihobe, owed 160. The account must be written off as a bad debts. So what is it that you need to do? You need to go your general journal, you debit the bad debts, you credit Sihobe. Debit the bad debts with 160, and then Sihobe you credit with 160. Does it affect any debtors or creditor? Yes. Why? Which one, debtor or creditor? It affects debtors. Why? Because Hobe was our debtor. Therefore, we are going to decrease or we are going to credit the 160 because we will never get the 160 because now Hobe is a bad debt written off. So for now, we need to credit whatever that Hobe is owing us. Then let's go to the next transaction. The next transaction in this case will be the cash of 140 was not received. Sorry, it was not received from S. Peter. Remember, as Peter called and wanted a discount, so we gave a discount because there's no more checks, and then he said he will bring a cash of 140. So mistakenly, the bookkeeper recorded this without having any proof. Yesterday, I was talking about the bookkeeper who must, a competent bookkeeper must have a proof of money before they record it. So in this case, this bookkeeper is not qualified. He decided to record the 140 for the cash that Peter said he will send via cash. And then there was already a discount of 30 Rand, which needs to be cancelled because Peter did not bring money. So this is how we are going to record it. We are going to say, as Peter, 30 Rand must be debited, and then the discount allowed 30 Rand must be credited, meaning we are taking back that discount. Why does it affect the debtors control or creditors control? It affects our debtors control. Why? Because Peter is a debtor. We gave him goods on credit. Therefore, he did not pay. We allowed him not to pay the discount, and it made us reduce the loan or the amount of money that he was owing with 30 Rand. Therefore, we add it back. You debit your creditors control with 30 Rand. Okay. Then let's move to the next activity, the next transaction. Rent income amounts to 39,000. 1 month rent was received in advance. So what do you do when you receive rent in advance? You have to check how many months was it received in advance. Then you'll use your calculator. Therefore, 1 month was received in advance. Remember, the rent is paid for 12 months, which is for a year. So if you received 39,300, they said 1 month was received in advance. It means there were 13 months already in there. So this is what you do. You say your 39,000, you divide by 13, then you have your 3,000, meaning each and every month the rent is only 3,000. So he paid 3,000 times 12 plus another 3,000 for an extra month that is indicated here, which was received in advance before time. So this is how you go about recording it. You say rent income, it was received in advance. Under general journal, you're going to have to debit your rent income, and then you will credit rent income received in advance. It must be clear that it was received in advance. It does not belong to the current financial year. It belongs to the next financial year. Hence why you have to be very clear that it is rent received in advance. Does it affect our debtors control or our creditors control? Nothing. So let's move to the next transaction. The next transaction is the roof has been repaired at a cost of 5,300. The amount was posted to Land and Buildings account in error. So remember, in accounting we don't rub. If you have written 5,300 in Land and Buildings, you must take it out, bring it back to repairs. So you don't say you just rub it and then write it in relevant journal. No, that is not what you do. So you must go to your general journal, and then this is how it will appear. You have to debit your repairs with 5,300 and then credit your Land and Buildings with 5,300. You are taking it back from Land and Buildings because it was recorded there in an error or in a mistakenly recorded in that. So it must come back to repairs. All right. Then let's move to received 4,000. The next transaction, received 4,400 for interest on fixed deposit. 1 month interest is still due. So remember, the interest also is calculated annually in 12 months. So if we say 4,400 for the interest on a fixed deposit, and then we are talking about 1 month interest is still due, it means it was only for 11 months. So the 4,400 was for 11 months. There is still 1 month interest still due to make it 12 months. All right. So this is how it will go. You'll have to check how much is it per month. Therefore, you go to your calculator. When you get to your calculator, you say 4,400, and then you divide by 11 months. Therefore, it gives you 400, meaning the interest is 400 per per month. Therefore, you have to add or to show that interest of 400 that was left out. So this is how you will go about it. You said accrued income 400 and interest received it's 400. Why do we say accrued income? Because it's still behind. And remember, it is an interest income. Why do we say it is an interest income? Because it is an interest on the fixed deposit. Sorry, not an interest on the loan. So if it was the interest on the loan, it was going to be a different case. But now this is our money that we are entitled to, hence why we have to show it in that manner of us saying we having accrued income of 400. They still owe us that income because it was supposed to be interest received that had to come to us. All right, then let's go to the next transaction. The following extract appeared in the pre-adjustment trial balance. So what happened here is the balance sheet account. You have your debit and your credit. Then you have your vehicle of 100,000, and then you have your equipment at how much? 75,000. Then you have your accumulated for vehicle at 30,000. Then you have your accumulated depreciation on equipment at how much? At 30,500. Then you have your trading stock at how much? At 74,000. So you are supposed to calculate the depreciation as follows. Vehicle is 15% per annum on cost. Equipment at 10% per annum diminishing balance method. So you need to know the difference between the cost, the depreciation that is calculated at cost and the depreciation that is calculated at diminishing balance. So before we go to that one, this one is so easy of trading stock. Before we go to the depreciation, we can just do the one for trading stock because they are in one transaction. Then you say minus what you are having. Therefore, you'll have the difference of 4,000. The trading stock, you see, you're going to have your trading stock, 74,000 is the balance from the trial balance. And then the trading stock, according to fiscal stock taking, will be 67,000. So what you do, you just say 74,000 minus 67,000, and then it will give you 7,000. So what you do, you debit your trading stock deficit of 7,000, and then your trading stock deficit of 7,000 as well. All right, now let's come to the depreciation. Depreciation on the vehicle, we are having 15,000. Let's see how did we get to 15,000. We are saying the depreciation on the vehicle, how much is our vehicle? It's 100,000. 100,000 multiplied by 15% because the percentage of the depreciation is 15 per annum. On which cost? On which method? On cost method. So on cost method, you take the cost price, of which is your 100,000, then you multiply by 15%, it gives you 15,000. Therefore, this is where you will go. You just say accumulated depreciation on vehicle is 15,000, and then you leave it like that. Remember here on the depreciation, because they are combined, you have to add the one for vehicle and the one for equipment to get 19,450. All right. Then let's go to the one of diminishing method. Equipment cost how much? 75,000, and then the depreciation was how much? 30,500. So on the diminishing method, you say cost 75,000, ne? And then you minus the 30,500. Then you have how much? 44,500. And with this 44,000, what do they say to you? They say equipment at 10% per annum on diminishing balance method. So you still have to multiply by the percentage given, 10 divided by 100. Therefore, you're having 4,450. Therefore, you go straight to your journals. You say accumulated depreciation on equipment, it's 4,450. So what is it that you do? You say you have 15,000 that you have calculated plus the 4,450. It must give you the 19,450. This one of trading stock, we've already dealt with it. It's a trading stock deficit debited, and trading stock must be credited. So what you need here is you need to balance you have to add all the totals there. Let's check what is it that you have. You're going to have debtors control, especially the ledger debtors control plus 30 of the discount. It will give you 380. And then we have 270, which was the opening balance, plus 160. It will give you 430. And then you go to creditors control of 120. And then there was nothing that affected the creditors control. So you take your 120 as it is. I think now the first journal is very clear. We'll just have to move on to the second journal. The second journal, when you check there, it's question 5. It says the pre-adjustment trial balance of Wilmar Sports Traders on 28 February 2018, the year and accounting period is given. It says, show the effects of the adjustment in the general journal. Journal narrations are not needed. So you don't have to do what? The narrations. But for the sake of other learners, I have done the narrations so that let me highlight them, or let me make them bold, so that other learners can know or can remember what are we talking about when we are talking about narrations. So narrations, like I said, is a story of what happened in the transaction in order for us to end up writing it into the general journal. So the narration, I've made something like a narration here. It is just to indicate as to what happened, or just for practice activities. It will help you to see how things were done. All right. So let's go back to our activity. The information is here for us. We have our adjustment here as well. And then on the information, we are going to have Wilmar Sports Shop, pre-adjustment trial balance 2018. You have your capital, your drawings, equipment, vehicle, and then, yeah, pre-adjustment trial balance. It has all those aspects. Then let's go to the adjustment and see if they can help us. When you go to the adjustment, it says the owner took trading stock to the value of 1,670 for personal use. This was not recorded. So if it was not recorded, where are you going to record it? In the general journal. Therefore, how does it work? You're going to say you debit your drawings with 1,670, and then the trading stock, because the drawings was taken for trading stock, with 1,670. All right. And then let's go to the next transaction. The next transaction here talks to, according to the physical stock taking, the following were on hand. You're having, at the end of the year, you're having trading stock of 41,700. So let's check from the pre-trial balance how much your trading stock was. 43,470. Let's go 43,670. Then you go down and check 43,670, and then minus 41,700. Minus 41,700. So how much do we have here? We have 1,970. So on the 1,970, we have also to check about the stationery of 1,150. The stationery was 1,150. remember the stock of 1,670 that was not taken into account, 1,670, and therefore how much do we have? We have 300. If you remember very well, from the first adjustment, there was stock that was not taken into account of 1,670. We also have to subtract from the information of stock that was on hand. So we're going to say here, the trading stock of 43,670 minus the 41,700 minus the 1,670. Therefore, you're going to have 300 is the difference. Trading stock deficit is 300 and trading stock was 300. Therefore, deficit according to deficit according to stock taking was 300. All right. I want us to move to the next activity. Stationery. Our next activity here is stationery. Stationery consumable stores on hand 1,500. Then stationery must be credited with 1,150. What happened? It's stock on hand according to stock taking. Then the next adjustment, telephone account for February 2018 has not yet been paid. Therefore, you go there, you say your telephone, you must debit your telephone, and accrued expenses, which is 735, also must be credited. All right. Then we have to move to our next transaction. Our next transaction here is going to be commission of 1,800 is owed to the company. So we go into a general journal. Accrued income of 1,800. Commission income is 1,800. So accrued income must be debited with 1.8, and then commission income must be credited with 1.8. All right. Then let's move to the next transaction. When you move to the next transaction, we are going to talk about our transaction number 5. Insurance was paid for 13 months. Therefore, it means we need to go back to our insurance. How much was our insurance? Let's go back to our insurance. Insurance is here. It was paid for 13 months. And then if you can check here, it says insurance 13,000. So what do? We need to go back to our calculator and say 13,000. You divide by 13 months. Why 13 months is 1,000 rand? Why 13 months? Let's go back to our activity again. Because it says the insurance was paid. You see, the insurance was paid for 13 months. Therefore, you need to divide the 13,000 by 13 months to get 1,000. Then when you go to your journals, this is how you would do. Your prepaid expense, 1,000 rand must be debited, and your insurance, 1,000 rand must be credited. All right. Then let's go to the next adjustment. It says advertising include amount of 3,600 paid for 6 months in a daily newspaper. So on the 28th February, only 4 of this advertisement has been appeared on the newspaper. So if you are saying it's 3,600, you divide by 6 months. It means per month it's 600. Am I right? Okay. Then it says by 28 February 2018, only 4 adverts were advertised. Therefore, what do? You multiply by 4. Then you have 2,400. Then on the 2,400 is the one that we have used. So now we paid 3,400. Then minus 3,600. Minus 3,600. It means we have 1,200 that we did not use. Therefore, that you must take it to your journal. Hence why you are going to have your prepaid expenses of 1,200 debited, and then your advertising will be 1,200 credited. So in this case, you have to say whatever that you have used minus the one that you did not use. When you go back to the adjustment, it says advertising includes an amount of 3.6 for 6 months. I will repeat it again. You divide by 6 because it's for 6 months. Therefore, each month will give you the 600. Then you say by 28, you only used 4 of this advertisement. Then you just minus the 4 that we have used, which is 600 multiplied by 4, it will give you 2,400. Therefore, 3,600 minus 2,400 will be 1,200. So on your general journal, again, you are going to say prepaid expense of 1,200, and that prepaid expense was for what? For advertisement. All right. Then let's move to the next adjustment. A broken window was replaced at 1,590. This was accidentally debited against rented buildings. We need to correct it. We came across this activity like now in the previous activity. So there is no need for us to have doubts about it. Then you go to your repairs. You have to debit your 1,590. Then you go to your rented buildings. You credit 1,590. You are basically correcting whatever that you did, which was an error, because you can't say repairs, it's part of rented buildings. All right. So the rent include the rent for March 2018. Take into account that it was increased with 1075 per month on the 1st of January 2018. So if it was increased with 1,075 from January 2018, you need to check how many months was it increased with. You see, it was increased with 2 months because we are doing the financial year for February. So you check your 1,075 times 2, 1,075 times 2, it will give you 2,150. So meaning the rent was increased with 2,150 for this period of 2 months, because if you can check the information here, we are doing end of February. So there is an increase of 2,000 and I said 2,000 how much? 2,150. But let's check how much was our rent. How much was our rent? Where is it? Rent. Where is it now? Rent income, it was 48,725. If the rent was 48,725, we have to subtract it from here. Minus 48,725, and you're going to have your 46,575. So we have to check with this 46,725. We have to check how much was rent per month. Therefore, you go and then let me check, was it for 13 months or for 12 months? On the adjustment, it just says, take note that the rent was increased, includes the rent of March, or it's also for 13 months. So meaning we need to take out the rent for March with its increase, because meaning the increase is 3 months, so it's not 2 months. It's going to be 1,075 times 3. Sorry for that. 1,075 times 3. Therefore, it's 3,275. So meaning the rent is 3,275. Therefore, you need, for the increase only, you need to subtract from the original rent, or the amount of rent that we had. How much was our rent? We'll go back there, 48,725. Therefore, you're going to say minus 48,725. Therefore, your rent was 45,500. Then you divide by 13 months. Your rent was 3,500. So you're going to say 3,500 for March that you must subtract, plus the increment, 3,500 plus the increment of 1,075. Therefore, your rent will be 4,575. So this is how you'll write it in your journal. Rent income received in advance, which is 4,575, which is the 3,500 plus the 1,075 for the increase. It will be credited with rent received in advance for 4,575, and then you received rent for the 13th month. Then the last one, which is the depreciation. On the last one of depreciation, let's check our adjustment. Sorry for that. Our adjustment on the depreciation. It says on vehicles at 10% on cost. So we need to go and check how much is our vehicles. A vehicle was bought for 120 on the 1st of September and it was recorded properly. So meaning this vehicle is included on other vehicles. Then on equipment is 15% on diminishing method. So let's go back and check. We can even start with equipment, 15%. Where is our equipment? Equipment 88,000 minus 17,600, diminishing 88,123 minus 17,600. Therefore, you're going to have 70,400. Then you multiply by 15 divided by 100. Therefore, you're going to have 10,560. It's your accumulated depreciation for equipment. Remember, I said when you bring them here, they must be added together. Then you'll just be left to calculate the depreciation for the vehicle. The depreciation for the vehicle, you can check your vehicle was 334,000, is on cost 336,400. Then I think it's multiplied by 15 over 100. Therefore, you have 50,460. But there was another vehicle, if you can remember very well, that was added. When you check the information from the vehicle that was added, where is the vehicle which was added from here? It was 120. So the 120 vehicle from 504, I made a lot of, it's 5,000 here actually, because it's, let me quickly go back and check the amount for the vehicle. Vehicle is 336,400. 336,400, and then multiply by, how much is the percentage for here? 334,400 multiply by vehicle, or by 10%, 10 over 100, or 33,640. Then with this 33,640, you still have to minus the new vehicle of 120. So you can say 336, why is it not pressing now? 336, my calculator. Then you say 336, you multiply by, you subtract the new vehicle that was bought because it says it was recorded properly, meaning it's included on this amount, 336,400. 336,400, 336,400 minus the new vehicle. How much was the vehicle? Minus 120, minus 120. 120, therefore you have 216. So on the old vehicle, you can say 216 multiply by 10%, 10 over 100. Therefore, you have 21,640 for the old vehicles. Then the new vehicles, you have to do it by months. If on the old vehicle you are having 21,640, 21,640 on the old vehicle, 21,640. Let's check how much is the one on the new vehicle. On the new vehicle, our vehicle is 120,000. Multiply by 10 divided by 100, and then it gives you 12,000. Then you have to multiply by the months. It was bought in September, so September must be included. Then it's September, October, November, December, January, February, by 6 months. Multiply by 6 divided by 12. Therefore, it's 6,000. Therefore, is the depreciation on the other vehicle. Therefore, you have 21,640 plus the 6,000. It gives you the 27,640. Therefore, the 27,640 you add with 10,560. Therefore, you're going to have 38,200 as your depreciation. We have come to the end of our lessons. I did all the journals except petty cash and salary and wages journal. So I did all 7 journals, and I hope you guys, learners, will understand it and you will enjoy it, and you will make the best out of it. The activities will be shared with the different subject advisors so that they can share with different schools that they have. But I know even if some of you are not in this province, see on our website we can get the activities and then we can work through them. And I would really like to thank you from the bottom of my heart that, and I'm banking onto the grade 10s. I know in some other schools it's a challenge that they do not come every day, but I know teachers will make the best of whatever time they are having. Just enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much. It's Megabi, the subject advisor from Mateo.